Welcome to The Bank is Open, presented by Pickett Sports, presented by Props.cash. Happy to have them aboard. Happy to have you guys aboard. It is a full house tonight. We have MrBradThomas, Matt McAfee, NicLarson. We're going to be breaking down the one NBA game, and then we'll quickly pivot to the NFL, maybe some World Cup. Who knows what we'll discuss. Boys, what's going on?
Another day, another dollar. That's for sure.
Yeah, excited for this kind of a narrow slate, so I don't have to dive too much in. A little bit of a respite, if you will. So hopefully we can find some value in a tiny slate.
Kings and Jazz won again, so we're looking good, Will.
The Kings are our official team, man, of this show, at least my official team. They are the most fun team to watch. If you have no rooting interest, if you're not looking for nothing to do late at night, man, the Kings are a fun watch. Finally, all those picks, when you pick in the top 3, top 4 every year, it pays off eventually, and it's paid off. That's a fun team.
Yeah, the trade, actually, they got killed for it, but
I still don't like that trade. But
no, I don't like it either. You don't trade Halliburton, ball handling guard for a center, no matter how good the center is. But yeah, it's made both teams more fun to watch. That's for sure.
Especially a guy. I mean, the league with the way the league is now, if you don't shoot threes and you don't play great defense, it's just hard to be that much of an impact player. So that's why I'm just not a huge fan of Sabonis. I prefer Halliburton, but look, they've played well. They're fun to watch. The one game tonight, Dallas is in Detroit. They are laying 8. This is a big number on the road. Detroit got buried the other night at home against the Knicks. Matt, you could start us off here. Mavs, Pistons, anything you like, any bets you have in pocket for this one?
Nothing in pocket. Just kind of waiting on final lineup news. Obviously Ivy coming back is big. Stewart's kind of working his way back in. They're trying to figure out these rotations. Is Bagley going to start ahead of Bay? Like, there's just so many questions to try to figure out that there's nothing I've locked in yet. 8 just initially feels like it's probably about right for me. Like, if the Mavericks want to, they could win this by 20 or 30 points, but Pistons they'll be plucky, and the Mavs, their effort levels are not consistent. So it would have shocked me if the Pistons, get a cover. No. But you look at their lifeless performance last time out, like, I mean, they were so bad. They're down 30 points. It's not likely they cover this number, but it's getting close to double digits in the NBA, so it's always kind of sketchy to lay that kind of number.
Brad, anything for you?
No, I was watching this Ivy number because I wanted to see like what would happen when he got ruled in. It's actually seeing like I'm watching the juice go more towards the under. But like if the line keeps moving, it's set at 15.5 right now. But if it keeps going towards the under and it gets to like, I don't know, 13.5 points before game time, I'd probably want to take the over. We'll be at 54 minutes. So probably would only get to 15. So I'd probably lay off because I don't know how many minutes he's going to play. But I mean, when he plays all gas, no breaks. So for him, it's an over or no play for me.
Nick?
Yeah, I have one play on this. It's Luka over 1.5 steals. He's not necessarily a great defender, but he seems to rack up the steals. He had 4 last game. Pistons are, I think, 11th for most turnovers at like 14.5 a game. So I like Luka in this spot. I'm probably going to stay away sidewise on this. 8, like Matt said, is probably about right. And I'm just going to play the Luka steals in this one.
Parlay the money line, the Mavs with something, or that's not worth it?
I thought about taking the Mavs, and we'll get to the football later. I thought about taking
Mavs and Bills.
Mavs and Bills. I think it's plus money if you put those together.
Not terrible. I've made dumber bets.
Fire it up.
Yeah, I don't know. And we'll get to the football game here in a minute. I'm sort of back and forth in it. And again, we don't want to step on the NFL. We'll spend plenty of time on the NFL. Matt, we did a show the other day. I don't know if Brad was with us. It might not have been on Tuesday. So Brad, Matt, I guess Brad, you can start. Any big picture thoughts here, NBA, any futures awards that you have in pocket? We mentioned Curry 9-1. Maybe that's the best price you'll get for MVP all year. Any big picture thoughts here, NBA, for you, Brad?
Not yet. I'm patiently waiting for Desmond Bane to come back. I have him most improved, but it looks like Shai Alexander is going to end up winning this bet. At least he's running away with it. I need some like more you don't want to root for injuries, so that's not what I'm saying, but I need some more stuff to have to shake up with some injuries to place another bet. And I'm going to be jumping right on something the second someone goes down, because I think a lot of these markets are still pretty up to grabs. Like, we're still pretty early in the season, and you know how it goes. There's that one guy, like, let's give an example, Lauri Markkanen, who started off really, really hot every single game. And then now, he has the games where he kind of just no shows, or his little float shot's not working. So I'm going to wait for some injury news before I get anything else on the board.
Matt, anything for you? Big picture NBA, Cavs futures. What you got?
Nothing additional. I'm still driving the LaMelo Ball MIP bandwagon. I know his ankle, as soon as he gets back, he rolls it on the fan's foot like 2 games in. So that stinks. I think SGA, man, he reminds me of Iverson. He's just so inefficient. Like, I mean, he could score 30 points and only make 7 or 8 field goals because he gets the line so frequently and his usage is so much. And at some point, the Thunder are going to pull the plug on him. There's just no point in them continuing to try to, compete and win some games. So, again, part of it has to handicap like what's the team's motivation going to be going forward. And the last couple months, you could see the ebbs and the flows of these just week to week, let alone month to month. And so if some of these guys that are the short shots right now, they may be out of sight, out of mind when the time comes around where people are voting on these awards. But, MVP, I still think Giannis is a good look. I mean, I know Tatum's like kind of gotten a little bit ahead of him. Doncic, as long as he keeps, putting up these crazy numbers, is a good look. But I mean, Giannis, if you're holding on to that ticket, you'll be in the conversation the entire year. So. Yeah. I trust him to be in and around the 1 seed. We got Middleton coming back, which is only going to help the Bucks record. So I don't know if I like Curry for an MVP. There's just not enough, I think, will to go to him at this point. They're about a 500 team right now. So. Oh gosh, defensive player of the year, Giannis too. I think there's some value there. OG leading the league in steals is a nice cool look here.
I like OG as well.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to jump in here crazily. Like we just got so much time before these awards settle. So
you're not going to jump on Brooke Lopez plus 180.
Yeah, plus 180. No, I did like the LaMelo thing. I grabbed because it was 49,000 to 1. So I mean, let's those odds were just stupid.
What was it? 49,000. A dollar wins 100. A dollar wins 49,000.
Well, no, a dollar.
490 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's 490 to 1. So yeah, 49,000 odds. Yep. And the way you said it would be the better way to say it. So, yeah, these awards don't get me too excited yet. So, we'll have to see. Plus, trades can happen at some point, which may change the role of some of these guys. Like the Westbrook 6th man award kind of scares me. I still think the Lakers will move him. And will he be a 6th man on on another team? Probably not. So, like, why jump in right now at such a short price?
That's a good one. And Nick, you can sort of pick it up from there. Lakers now 8-12. We mentioned Davis playing better. LeBron's back.
Creeping up.
The West is sort of wide open. Do they have those 2 first-round picks? Do you try to add to the team? Do you just say, you know what, this is maybe a better time now that Davis is healthy. We can trade him and rebuild. I don't know what the right answer is. What do you think the Lakers do here these next couple months?
I think they're going to make a move. It's just who do they make the move with? Yeah. Everyone talked Pacers before the season. Pacers kind of like their team, I think, depending what they're going to do. I'm not sure.
We've heard so much about Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. We've never heard more about a fake trade with 2 obscure players than Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. My goodness.
I also heard maybe something with the Bulls potentially. Westbrook in the picks for some combination of Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan or something like that. So I think they're for sure going to be making a move, especially lately. They've been playing better, kind of work their way back into some sort of contention, not the seller anymore.
I have an idea. Not that they've asked me, but I have an idea. If you can find some players that know how to shoot the basketball, preferably from far away from the basket, those would be good guys to have, especially in 2022, because they have no shooting. And it's encouraging to see Davis back. LeBron is still LeBron. He's not LeBron anymore, but he still has his skill set. He just needs some shooting, man. They just have no shooting whatsoever.
They got rid of Matt Ryan too.
They did.
Yeah.
Rough week for Matt Ryan's.
Yeah, for real.
Brad, any thoughts from you? Do the Lakers hold? Do they try to buy?
They have to make moves. Like this is the sunset of LeBron James' career, and he's still playing at a high level. So you have to maximize it. Like they don't have. This is not like LeBron James in year 2 where they can kind of just use this year and waste it. Like you have to. They're already leveraged inside of his contract, so they have to try to make the most out of this. What they'll be able to do is still up for grabs, but I think they do need another on the ball scorer, like to make life a little bit easier for LeBron. And then I love the way Anthony Davis has been playing. People actually were like, Brad, you drafted Anthony Davis in fantasy basketball, and I was like, oh, he's gonna have a monster year. And then he started off so soft, like he was afraid, but now he's playing really good basketball. So, I mean, if you look at the team, like there's no reason like they should have started off the way they did, outside of their lack of shooting. So just make a few moves. I think they're going to have to try. There's nothing else they can do but try.
That's a fair point. The only counter is no matter who you trade for, this team's not winning a championship. So it's like we're gonna dig ourselves even deeper. Like we traded all these picks for Davis, which is fine. You won a championship, even though it's the bubble. You trade all these picks and players for Westbrook. Now we're gonna trade even more players just to get whatever Hield and Turner. It's like, all right, maybe you win a round. You're not gonna win the whole thing. So man, you're just giving up the rest of your decade to maybe win a round, maybe not, maybe win 2. I don't know. It's a tough call. It's really not easy.
No, it's not.
You got to trade AD.
That's not a terrible idea, because if you can keep him healthy for a couple months and just sort of restock and get young players and get picks, like I don't know what other way out is. It's just if he's playing this well, you don't want to keep him, but this is finally a time where you can sort of sell high and I don't know, hope for the best. It's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Looks like they have like 2 routes. It's either you're going to trade Westbrook in the picks and try to go for it a little this year, or you got to trade AD. You can't just sit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I just don't know who's coming in for AD.
The Knicks, of course.
Yeah, the Knicks. There you go.
That would actually be the perfect team because they have a bunch of picks. You'd ideally want somebody who doesn't have their own picks, because once you trade Davis to a team, it's going to be a contender. Otherwise, why would they want Davis? Then those picks don't become valuable. So it's tough. You want, I guess, picks sort of like the package you gave away, which is picks down the road, picks that are, far away, unprotected. And hey, there's nothing more valuable than Knicks unprotected picks, because who knows what they're ever going to turn out to be. So it's fascinating. I don't really know. I don't really know what
Davis
they do.
Say he wanted to play in Chicago if he left.
Davis, yeah, but I think with Clutch, boy, I think he's going to stay with LeBron. Although, if he's under contract, I don't know how much of a say he has in a Chicago place he'd want to go right now with the situation they're in. I don't know about that. All right. Anything else on the NBA before we go to the NFL?
Bucks -8 against those Lakers tomorrow night. That looks pretty good. I think they'll kill them.
Where is that game?
It's in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's cheap. Yeah, that's a good price.
It'll only get worse if Middleton's once he's ruled in. Like,
right.
Yeah. A little look ahead. You throw that on your parlay.
Giannis will be showing out for that game too.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Your money line parlay, if you want a dance partner for the Mavs and your Bills tonight carrying into tomorrow. I don't know why you would, but it's there.
Hey, why not?
Right.
Parlaying big NBA and NFL favorites. What could possibly ever go wrong?
You got a soccer game tomorrow to throw it on too as well. You might as well add one.
Brazil.
Yeah, do a little parlay to Brazil parlay.
Brazil.
Right?
Yep.
I mean,
Dodgers on opening day. Is it too far away? Do we have a Dodgers opening day line? All right, we can move on to football. What do we have? Props.cash, Pickett Sports, any reads?
Yes, we do have a read. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, over presented by Props.cash, the research tool that should be a part of every prop bettor's arsenal. Analyze the top trends with hit rates for every player and all of the prop lines. Props.cash, super easy to use. Gives you the top trends across all games every day. Head over to Props.cash and use code GOLDBOYS25 with a capital G for 25% off your first month.
That was a professional read. My goodness, I would
Let's
have
go.
never done 90% of that. Good. That was really good. NFL, this line, boy, everyone seems to like the Pats. It makes you nervous. We're down to mostly 3.5s, 43.5. We know they played 3 times last year. There was the wind game where New England won that fluky game in the crazy weather, and then Buffalo just drilled them the next 2 times, including the playoffs. Brad, start us off here. Pats, Bills. I guess we'll start with the side. Let's just go with the game itself first before we get to any props. What do you guys like in terms of the game? Brad, you can start.
Yeah, so it's fun to watch this line movement, right? Especially when you have the bet and the handle count. So the line opened at 5.5 for the Bills. Now it's at 3.5 for the Bills, but they're getting 75% of the bets, right? And the handle's 50-50. So why would a book move that line down? Why would they move that down if they're not actually, if they're, the only way they're moving that down is if they see the value of maybe sharp bettors or sharp action coming on. Like there's a lot of sharp reports that come out. And I don't have any knock on people who just side with sharps or whatever they want to do. I don't bet that way, but I do like tracking movement when you have the data behind it, when you have something like this. Like if it's a lopsided market or a two-way market, I mean, if it's a lopsided market, then that's one thing. But when you have a two-way market, when we're saying what the handle's 50-50, why is the line moving down then? That means the books are trying to cut back on some of that liability. They're actually even more money's now slowly coming on the Patriots as I'm speaking. The line's actually the percentage is actually changing in real time. I do lean Patriots here, and we talked about this last time. New England Patriots, they have a good defense, second in defensive DVOA. They're third in defensive pass DVOA, and I think that Josh Allen is vulnerable to not cover spreads, to actually lose games because of the misplacement of his passes. And this Patriots secondary is really stingy. So it kind of worries me from that perspective. But I'm not the guy to go and take a line that's 2 points lower than when I could have got it a few days ago. Yeah. If you want to look at line movers of two points against the spread since 2011 are only covering like 40%. That's a huge, huge number. A huge number on the other side that you don't want to touch. It literally goes against betting smart unless you have actionable information, like someone gets ruled out or there's going to be a massive weather change. But I do think the Patriots will be able to score a few points here. I was interested in the total. I want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on it because I see the first half is set at 21. The Bills defense, we talk about this a lot when I love tracking variance, right? When I want to take something that kind of goes against the grain. Bills defense is ranked 19th in variance, which means right now they're third in defensive DVOA, but in variance, they're 19th. So they have times in games where they look like a team that's kind of confused. They also have times where, they look like a team who's absolutely stout. But if this is one of those games, what are you guys thinking on this total? Is this going to be a shutdown Bills performance, or are the Patriots going to be able to move the ball and score some points in this game?
It moved to 4 at Caesars and DraftKings.
Interesting.
I mean, you look at the Bills depth chart. For me, it's bad. They're missing 2. Dawkins is out. Morse is out. That's their center and left tackle. On the defensive end, their 2 starting defensive ends behind Von Miller, who they lost already, are both out. So they're not going to be able to get a pass rush. Tremaine Edmonds, their best linebacker, is also out. We know Micah Hyde's out, who was their best player in their secondary. They got Trey White, they got Jordan Poyer, and they got Matt Milano still on that defense. So and Ed Oliver too. So I don't want to say they're totally depleted, but I mean, you're looking at losing your best pass rushers. Your quarterback's blind side and his center are both out too. So I think there's a little bit of advantage here on the Patriots at home. It's the way I lean. I would take the 4. You may even push this. It might be 24-20 Bills or something like that. I could see that final score. Even 21-17 kind of a game. Maybe you get lucky, get inside the field goal there and you get the cover. But I love Nick Folk. Wait, we're not talking props yet, so I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll shoot it over to you, Nick. Sorry, but yeah, I'll take the 4. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'll be the lone guy taking the Bills then. I don't know. Mac Jones has looked better lately, but I still don't trust the guy. the Bills did get shredded by Amon-Ra last week, so I don't know if the Patriots have that guy that can do it to him or not, or if they're gonna feed Stevenson and try to control the game that way. Allen, like Brad said, the thing that scares me is, I mean, Josh Allen's been pretty careless with the football, especially in the red zone lately. So you have a drive late in the game or something like that, you need them to score to cover or whatever. It kind of gets a little hairy down there lately. He's been so careless throwing interceptions lately. But I think the Bills kind of straighten it out tonight. I like the Bills tonight.
Think if all things were equal, you could certainly make a case for the Bills. I just think ever since Allen got hurt, remember we were doing a show and it was like, oh, he might have Tommy John, he might be out. Well, he didn't miss any games, but he hasn't.
Will breaking
well
the news
since.
live.
That's right. And Dolphins were what, plus 550 then? The Jets were maybe like 20-1. Like Allen hasn't missed a game, but they haven't played well. They lost to Minnesota. They didn't play well against Cleveland. I thought Cleveland really let him off the hook early in that game. Then last week, Detroit had every opportunity to win that game. They jump off. I mean, they roughed the passer when it would have brought up third down late in the game where Detroit would have gotten the ball back with a tie game. They didn't run the clock properly. They missed a short field goal. So I thought Detroit let them off the hook. I just don't think this isn't the Bills team we saw weeks 1, 2, 3, where they're just a juggernaut. They're just Von Miller, Hyde. It's sort of death by a thousand cuts, like Matt brought up with the injuries. I heard there's also a flu going around the team. So this is kind of it for the Patriots. If you look at the AFC standings, if you lose this game, it's going to be hard to dig yourself out and make the playoffs. That the idea of a must-win game sort of gets overrated because if everyone won must-win games, nobody would ever get eliminated. But I do lean towards the Patriots. I bet the Patriots. Now I think Brad brought up a good point with the bet splits where they just show us the bet splits, the money. They don't always show us like, all right, the sharps are betting the Patriots, but the sharps are betting them at 5, 5.5, 4.5. I don't know if the sharps are taking 3.5. You're sort of late to the move here. So at 3.5, I'm sort of neutral. At 4, I would I'd want to get the 4 here if I like the Patriots. You guys can sort of take that any way you want to go.
Brad?
Yeah, I would. I agree. Let's move over to props. I want to talk about my prop because I think Nick said this kind of segues into what I'm on. I'm on Ramondre Stevenson over 15.5 carries. I liked this line even before Damian Harris was ruled out. If you look at Ramondre Stevenson's game logs, it'll tell you what they want to do. They want to get the balls in his hands. And with this Bills team, they can be ran on. They can be a team with all these injuries where you can just have success on the ground. And if this line movement suggests that the Patriots are going to be in this game. So what better way to keep this game you don't want to get in a shooting contest with the Bills. What better way to keep this in your advantage and not get into an early negative game script by throwing a pick or getting bad field position, but by running the ball. So it's one of my favorite props that I've locked that in. I think that if you want to play him to score a touchdown with it, if you want to get positive odds on that, it's something that I like too, because even if he's not running the ball, they've been looking to pass him the ball a lot too.
That's what I was going to shoot back at. What do you think on his receiving props?
I was just going to say that.
How many targets and like the last 5 games has been kind of crazy.
Yeah, I like his receiving prop. The only problem for me is like I don't like being the last guy to the market. And so like the line's already moved almost 11 yards, which is a lot for a running back.
What is it now? Total. I'm looking it up. What is
39.5.
Okay.
It opened at 28.5.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to be the last guy at the buffet.
No.
You can still get a 37.5 on DraftKings. Is that still something that you like, or is that still?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think that it's a fair price at 36, 37.
About receptions, what would you have him at for receptions?
I'd probably play. Man, that was a tough one for me.
I'd say play the yards instead.
I'd play yards because he can bust a big one, but I'd imagine he gets 5 targets this game. Which, unlike what happened with us with Saquon Barkley, he should actually get positive yards.
Yeah, Barkley just catches it because it's in a bad spot for him
to
catch and run, and he gets tackled before he can do anything. So he'll have like 4 catches for 3 yards because Danny Dimes is making him like jump to catch it, or like it's behind him, and so he loses all of his momentum. And I think Jones's accuracy, I mean, he's going to put it right where it needs to be, and Stevenson can catch and move. But I like those receptions too. I think if he's going to get 40 yards, he's probably going to have to get 5 catches.
5 catches, yeah. Stevenson is 35.5 on Caesars. If anybody wanted to see that, was getting down with that.
Yeah, Gosh, I either think if you take it the Pats, man, it's like you're going to look like a genius because they're going to win this in a tight, low-scoring game, or you take the Bills and they just blow them the hell out. Like, I don't know. I could see either way this thing going. I just don't. Bills don't cover these small numbers. They obliterate them, or you know what I mean. It's the 8, the 10, the 12s that you have to worry about with the Bills ATS. These small numbers, they might if they go score 14 points real quick, the Pats might be in some big trouble. Player prop wise, I mean, like I said, I like Nick Folk. I think his over 1.5 field goal made at even money is a really good prop. Pats, their red zone offense is kind of trash. So, he's had a couple games where he's hit 5 field goals. There's been some games where he's had no field goals. So, kind of wild. I don't know what the consistency charts look like. This is me just as a gut play. Bill's not going to turn down points against this Buffalo team, I don't think. And so, give me Nick Folk over 1.5 field goals. I like Josh Allen rushing yards tonight. I think he's really going to have to make plays, extend plays. And I like his touchdown at plus 200 too, which can be found on FanDuel. His touchdown last week was a little fluky. It wasn't a drawn up play. It was, he drops the snap and then like picks it up and, I can just run now. I think they want to use his legs tonight a little bit too. And use some of this power running game that was so successful with like the Bears did it really well against the Patriots. And Justin Fields, I think, is still running, when they played that. So I think similar kind of game plan for Josh Allen here. Get him involved and use his legs as a primary weapon.
And if you're going to be betting props, of course, props.cash, Pickett Sports, these are all great tools to help your betting. I gave out Jacoby Myers under 47.5. And as soon as I entered it, I went and double checked. Already moved down to 46.5 within like 30 seconds. We're down to like 44.5 now. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. I just like betting against these injured guys. There's a chance they re-injure it. Even if they're playing, who knows if they're 100%. I just think if he's less than 100%, it's asking him a lot to get to the high 40s into the 50s. So I did play Jacoby Myers under. You can get that. I don't know, 44.5 looks like the best price out there. That's what I'm looking at here at FanDuel. But that's one I played.
Do you like those yards to be made up by like Parker, or do you think the tight ends kind of step up?
It's a good question.
Because I know, Hunter had a monster game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he did.
So,
he did. I thought that was they got a rough whistle last week too. That's another reason why I kind of like them. Yeah. I think they're like we mentioned how the Bills were sort of unlucky to unlucky to win. The Patriots were sort of unlucky because they got some rough calls, whether it was the kick return, the touchdown with Henry. I thought the Pats got a really rough whistle. Some of it was their own doing. They ran into the punter, but I thought the Pats kind of got a rough flag, a rough whistle last week.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe, well, I've always liked Kendrick Bourne as a player. I don't know why. I just think he's wasted kind of on this Patriots team, but maybe he can step into that. I don't even know if they're offering his lines anywhere. Let's see, Bourne.
He doesn't have enough of identity.
Yeah, but I don't even see his receptions listed.
Get him 24-1 first touchdown as we can get in the first touchdown.
Right, you can play his touchdown, but you can't play his props. Sometimes those are the guys that can surprise you. Yeah, they'll offer you a long shot on a touchdown, but they don't give you any look. Like Dortch the other night when it was when the Cards. He was primed for a good slot. Like I think that we knew that Hollywood Brown was still out, and then Rondell Moore got hurt, and you couldn't bet Dortch at all anywhere. And he went like I think he had seven catches, something crazy like that. Like it was a wild game. So these second and third guys can sometimes. I love targeting them in primetime games like this where. It's sometimes the screwy things kind of happen. So Yeah, nowhere to be found. Watch him pop off, or maybe Thornton. Thornton's only his
Thornton.
catches are only 1.5 right now. I could see him catching 2 balls.
2 bombs too. That's they're gonna be.
Yeah.
They'll be like 35 plus yards.
Why not? Give it. I mean, you got to give him a chance.
How about anything else? First touchdown. Stevenson plus 550. Diggs 7-1. Singletary 8-1. Allen 10-1. Gabe Davis 12-1. Knox 13-1. Jacoby Myers 15-1. McKenzie 17-1. Parker 18-1. Henry 20-1. James Cook 21. Bourne 24. And then it goes down and down. You know, the quarterbacks, Mac Jones is 36-1. New England defense 29-1. Knicks, anything that catches your eye in terms of the odds for first touchdown?
If I were to throw something out, I'd probably take. You said Allen was 10-1, right?
Yeah,
I'd probably throw him out there 10-1.
Yeah, I agree. Bills will take the ball first. I can almost guarantee it. They'll have the first possession. Bill will defer because he would want to play the middle 8, like you know, smart and get the ball. The Bills always want the ball first, so we can be aggressive. They want to punch you first. So I think you take a Bill, and then I mean they score a ton on the first drive. So I like that Allen look. I mean, cash me that in my plus 200 out nice and early on a nice 50-yard scramble. So we cash his yards too.
Cash it all in one play.
Yeah, all in one.
Yeah, I like Allen, and I also like Isaiah McKenzie. I'm taking Isaiah McKenzie to score a touchdown as well at plus 300. The Patriots, what we know about their defense, they're very good at stopping the run. We're not going to see these walk-in touchdowns by Devin Singletary like he's been doing over these past few weeks. So I think targeting Josh Allen with his legs or targeting the guys in the slots like Isaiah McKenzie is going to be huge this week. So I'm on Isaiah McKenzie and Josh Allen.
How about a dart? Any darts? Anyone?
For a first touchdown?
Yeah.
That was my dart at 17-1 for McKenzie.
Hines 32-1.
Let's see. Hines goes over to the Bills, and God, he's barely seeing the field. Like I thought after that first game was pretty promising. I was like, oh, they're going to use him a ton, and man.
Yeah, I think
these are crazy prices. Like James Cook is 18-1.
Khalil Shakir 41-1.
Yeah, I don't even think he'll be on the field unless somebody gets hurt.
Mac doesn't run a ton. Mac doesn't run enough. At 36-1, you probably need a little more on Mac, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, touchdowns scored, Will.
150-1 for no touchdown.
No.
Maybe we get the heavy wins.
Patriots defense and special teams. Allen can throw a pick six.
Yes.
Patriots could return a touchdown on a kick. I could see that. Like if you want a deep cut, go like that. I think that's a decent look.
Anything else to add in this game before we get to some big picture stuff?
No, I think I'm trying to think of I went through the specials in this, and there were 2 that kind of caught my attention, but I didn't really fall in love with them. The one that I liked more was Ramondre Stevenson, 30 plus rushing yards in each half is plus 250. Guys, I love my specials, but this one doesn't have any that scream out to me. I was like, that's like the only one I'd probably even consider playing.
How about the division here? We mentioned that, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, when Allen got hurt, there was big prices on Miami, big prices on the Jets. I'll read you the odds now. FanDuel: Bills minus 220, Dolphins plus 240, Jets 12-1, and then we got New England 23-1. Nick, anything? If you had nothing in pocket, anything that's worth throwing $100 on?
I mean, I already threw it on the Bills when we made the announcement here. So
Miami, you mean?
Miami when we made the.
If you had nothing though, would you dip in again, or it's not worth it at this price?
I don't know if I would right now. What did you say the first 2 were again?
Bills minus 220, Dolphins plus 240. Remember, the Dolphins are on the road in San Francisco, so
right.
That's almost a proxy for this market. Where if you think they're going to win this week, maybe you jump in now. If you think they're going to lose, you say, hey, I'll get 3-1, maybe better next week.
Yeah, I'd probably stay away now. I don't know. These next 2 games are probably going to tell you what's going to happen. It's going to shift the odds big time depending what happens tonight and in that 49ers game. So
how about the Jets? Jets 12-1, interesting enough for anyone, or you need a little more?
I'd probably need
beaten Miami. They beaten Buffalo.
Like the Jets have Vikings, Bills, Seahawks, Dolphins in their schedule. They do play the Lions, which is another tough team, not a guarantee, and then the Jags. I was like looking at trying to figure out like whose schedule I like better. And they're all pretty tough, actually.
I like Miami because I think they're the best team.
Yeah.
And they're the healthiest team.
They're the healthiest team is important.
And the Bills are not healthy, and they also have to face like the other team's best effort. Like the Dolphins.
Every time.
Yeah, you don't want to get embarrassed when you play the Dolphins, so like you kind of are careful, but like people are up to play the Bills. Like people, heard all this talk, Super Bowl favorite. Like they're getting a great effort from everybody the rest of the way. And I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens here. I do like, you would say on paper that the Bills schedule, I mean, they got to win tonight, I think, because then you got the Jets and the Dolphins afterwards. And then, ending with the Bengals will probably need that game on January 2nd to get into the playoffs. And, you end with New England. It's not really easy. I think the Dolphins will beat San Francisco straight up. I'm not too worried about that. So if I'm a guy who doesn't have it, I think I would play. I would buy right now on the Dolphins. What's their money line?
Dolphins on Sunday?
Yeah.
Probably 160, 170, something like that. It's 3-4 point favorites, probably 160 range, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
While you're looking, I will read, though, as devil's advocate, I do think Miami loses Sunday without their tackles in San Francisco. Tua has done all this against bad defenses. Now he's got a good defense on the road. And listen to Miami's schedule. At San Francisco, at the Chargers, at the Bills, home versus the Packers, at the Patriots, home versus the Jets. That's not easy either.
Yeah, that's a tough.
That's 3 wins to end the season for sure. And,
nothing's for sure in the NFL. Nothing's for
well,
sure.
Nothing is for sure. That's
especially going to Foxborough. They only scored 1 touchdown against the Patriots that opening week. So Tua in bad weather. The Jets aren't a pushover. They'll be favored probably in all 3 of those games. I would think they would be, especially all at home. That's a weird scheduling quirk. Well, they're at New England, but they got a lot of road games left. I didn't realize this is so skewed towards the road. So they are road, 3 in a row on the road. Then they're 5 out of the last 6. No, 4 out of the last 5. 4 out of their next 5 are on the road. That's pretty slanted. It's usually not that imbalanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd still want the Dolphins, I want the Dolphins because I like them. I like that offense and that ability to score points.
Coach is really good too.
Well, that's why I think against Shanahan, I think like you got a little student versus the teacher kind of thing here. And gosh, do the Niners like need the game? I mean, that division's falling apart out there.
Yeah, it is.
They're gonna walk into there. They got to get healthy. They got to get right. So I'm going to be on the Dolphins money line against San Francisco already.
You have it in front of you. Did you find the price? Was it 160?
160.
165 on my
end. I was going to say, like, if it was something close, like, I mean, grab the Dolphins money line and then take your winnings and throw it on to the future afterwards. Like, got a chance to get a little extra money. Because if they don't win, then your future is really, really close. Like you're going to get longer odds anyway. So I would say, play your 49ers, play them to beat the 49ers, and then roll your winnings into the division, because you'll know what happened with the Bills and Patriots tonight too. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, I guess unless you think that right now, like if you're going to bet this second before knowing this Thursday night game, like if we get a Patriots upset tonight, then the Dolphins price is going to crater. So then the money line play is the way to go anyway. But I don't know. Tough one for sure. I definitely just wouldn't invest on the Jets like that.
What price would you need to be enticed on the Jets?
I wouldn't bet your money on them, man. I like them too much.
So if I gave you 50 to 1, you wouldn't take, like, there's no price?
I just don't trust their coach. I don't trust the quarterback situation, Mike White.
See, I kind of like White.
See, Mike White off the bench in a no pressure situation is a good spot. When Mike White has
in Minnesota might be tough. I agree.
And you're game planning for Mike White,
I agree.
Disappears. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough. Like I don't mean to be disrespectful of the Jets. I like a lot of their young players and stuff, but it's just that's not a team. Even at 50-1, I guess I would take it just because I could probably make some money like playing the other positions with that much runway. But like, yeah, I wouldn't want to invest my only $100 onto it.
I think the case for them is that, hey, maybe Allen's not healthy. The defense is beat up for Buffalo, and Miami has a tough schedule. Plus, we've beaten Miami, Buffalo head to head. So who knows if we can steal this with 10 or 11 wins. I wouldn't pick them, but I don't think it's impossible either. I'm just happy they got Wilson out there. Wilson was such a train wreck. My God, he was so bad. I don't know. Usually, if you're the second pick in the draft that high, you get that token second opportunity somewhere else just because, all right, some team things we can fix them. I don't know if anybody looks at Wilson's like, all right, we can fix this guy. He's not it. He's not the guy.
He's gonna be one of those guys who gets put on a roster. He's on that roster for a long time. He's gonna play in a game because the quarterback gets hurt, and then he's gonna go back to being a backup, like Nathan
Trubisky last year with Buffalo, where he just bounces around and he's just remember Zach Wilson? Yeah, it's a miss. I don't know who looks at him and says, all right, we'll bring in Wilson and that's our answer. Maybe you bring him in somewhere where you have a shaky quarterback and like as a competition. I'm sure somebody will take a chance on him in some capacity, but man, as far as giving him the keys, I just don't see that happening.
No. And he's like, you can't even use him as a bridge quarterback. Like, he's not going to win you games. He's not going to get you to where you need to go until your young quarterback gets to starting ability. That's what sucks for him.
Plus, he seems like an asshole.
Right. That's the biggest problem. Like, he's probably just too smart for his own good. Like, he's got to like grow up a little bit and figure out like, hey, I was this hot shit coming out.
Right.
And, I went to New York and all this stuff. Like, a little humble pie is probably going to be good for him because he is talented and he's got a big arm. I don't love his size. I don't think long term, like but I don't know. It's kind of sounding like old school thinking. Like I still like a prototype quarterback. I want a 6'4", 6'5". Give me a guy that's 230. And if he's not, he better be Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? Like. These Kyler Murray, Zach Wilson, kind of like they scoot around. They're athletes. They can move. Like I still just don't think it works too well. I mean, you get wins, and I think Justin Fields is like Lamar Jackson level athlete. Like maybe not quite, just a notch below. But yeah, Jets could have had him. And you pass on the guy that went to Ohio State and played in a ton of big games, and you take a chance on the BYU guy. Like, that's tough. I mean, we'll see what happens, man. I'm not rooting against the guy right now, but it is hard to root for him.
Anything else on this game before we do a little soccer and we get out of here?
No, but I do want to say this. I think this is a good bet. I know if anybody wants to talk me off it, someone had asked me on another show the most rushing yards, and I was waiting for someone to have like a breakout game so I could find a reason to back Derrick Henry at a better price. He's down by 110 yards to Josh Jacobs. Derrick Henry at plus 275. The remaining schedule, he plays like 3 of the worst run defenses in the NFL, where Josh Jacobs plays 3 really good run defenses. And it's also the Raiders that could be playing from behind. So I think that if you guys ever play those markets like league leaders, I think Derrick Henry's a very good one at plus 275.
Yeah, him and Nick Chubb it's gonna come down to those guys too.
Yeah.
I looked at that market today, kind of handicapping it between Henry. I've got a Chubb Offensive Player of the Year ticket in pocket, which I don't think has a chance to win just because there doesn't seem to be an appetite to give it to a team that's losing. But I mean, I don't know how much more Nick Chubb can do to be in the at the top of the conversation. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's been the quarterback, and everybody knows he's running the ball, but yet he's leading the league in 10-yard rushes and rushing touchdown, all kinds of stuff. Like,
well, Brissett hasn't been terrible this year. From what I mean, you watch more than me. He's been serviceable. See, he's done all they could possibly ask for him. It's really been
right. I mean, literally, it's every week here, man. 20 carries or more.
Yeah.
But now with Watson back, I think it just opens things up. more for the running game. Like I think with him back there, you weren't scared of Jacoby. With Watson back there, I'm not saying Cooper and Peoples Jones and stuff like our wideouts are not going to scare anybody too much, but you got to respect his ability to get vertical. I think we bring in we're doing a little Browns deep talk here. This is probably huge for everybody, but like you see Anthony Schwartz kind of come in as our deep threat. He had a nice jet sweep touchdown. That dude's the fastest guy in the NFL. Believe it or not, like he's got like world-class speed. I'd like to see him kind of come in there. I don't know. These future markets are wide open though, for sure. I like that Henry and Chubb head to head versus Jacobs, who's the leader right now, but yeah, he's going to come back. So I think either one is a good bet, or maybe just split your bet between the two.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid look, Brad.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was patiently waiting, and Josh Jacobs had that 86-yard run. I was like, all right, now it's time to pounce.
Pounce. Yeah, what's the OP? Okay, I'm taking a look at that.
I think Jefferson's the favorite right now.
Yeah, Jefferson plus 235. And Tyreek right there behind him. They got Jalen Hurts popped up there too.
Such a weird it's such a vague market. We don't really know what it is. It's not like you can be the MVP, but you're not the offensive player.
And you're not as an offensive player, not the offensive player of the year.
But they should just call it the best non-quarterback. But then there's quarterbacks in there. Sometimes they give it to the second best quarterback. Sometimes they do give it to the MVP. It's very strange.
Yeah, it is pretty strange. I mean,
what's Kelsey?
Kelsey's 16-1, but Mahomes is half his price at 8-1.
Yeah,
who's the MVP favorite? minus 160 now.
And they probably won't give two Chiefs. Or would they give Mahomes the MVP and Kelsey the offensive player of the year? They might. I don't know.
That's a weird one.
He's as valuable as anyone.
I'm just sitting on my Tyreek Hill. That's all I got, and I was bummed that they took everyone out last game. I was like, keep throwing it.
Yeah, I got Hill. I have Hill 8-1, and I think Jefferson 20-1. So. Either one of them hit, I'm okay.
Yeah, I think you're all right with Jefferson. There seems to be an appetite to get him the award. Like no matter what, he can have a game where he totally disappears, and his odds don't hit.
But that doesn't mean it's reflective. It's a great point. It's 100% true, but that doesn't mean like it's not the voters making the odds. It's the odds makers trying to get inside the heads of the voters. Where sometimes that's not always congruent. They're not always on the same page. I mean, look at last year. It was Mac Jones was the runaway favorite rookie of the year. Then Chase had that monster game. I think it was against the Chiefs, second to last week. And then Chase went from being a big underdog to like minus 400. I was like, oh, that happened quickly. So you never know with these awards.
I know that they keep losing these close games, but to me, Lamar Jackson has carried his team more than these other guys.
Like it's
and at 60-1, his odds just keep getting worse. But like, how many more injuries can they have around this guy and him just keep like he's going to will this team probably to win the AFC North. Him and Justin Tucker, I guess, which they, I don't know. The markets are confusing to me because I thought Nick Chubb was a good price at 16-1. He's now 130-1, and he's done nothing wrong. So again, it's just are you winning the games, and are they talking about you on first take? Are they talking? You know what I mean? That's what's important in these things, not necessarily your numbers. Because Justin Jefferson, he's got a lot of catches and yards, but how many touchdowns has this guy scored? This game is about scoring touchdowns, I thought, but
right.
I mean, I know he does a lot. The Vikings have a lot of wins, but you got guys that have scored more than twice as many touchdowns that have, infinite amount of odds longer than him. So make it make sense.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Soccer. We have advanced. The U.S. has advanced. Brad, Matt, I don't know how much of a soccer guy Nick is. That was
show us that hair, Brad.
Yeah.
There you go. That's dedication.
Man. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, my soccer knowledge, Will, is I was going to ask these two to break it down. I'm a newbie soccer COVID watcher, so I started.
Welcome.
I started with Dortmund with Haaland and Sancho, Bellingham.
Oh, yeah.
Then went over to Man City when Haaland went there. So stop the booing down there. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of new people watching, especially the USA game. So how would you, I know I asked you before the show, like how would you compare this to an NBA game, an NFL game, like kind of the two teams matching up, Netherlands and the USA?
Yeah. And the way I answered your question was the US is like I compared them to the Pistons, which a lot of young talent. It's too soon for this talent to be really materialized, but maybe they just don't know they're not good enough yet. And I compared the Netherlands to the Sixers because I saw a lot of similarities with Virgil van Dijk and Joel Embiid. The big man in the center. He's so important to everything they do. It's tough. Netherlands are definitely the clear favorite. They don't score enough goals from open play to really make me too nervous. I think our defense can kind of hold this thing out. I think it'll eventually. It's low scoring for sure. Play the unders. I think that's the way to attack it. If this went to extra time, it wouldn't surprise me at all. So like under 2.5 is probably a great look. If the Dutch beat us, it'll probably be a 1-0. And Van Dijk just cleans everything up. He's that good. Like his positioning is impeccable. He sits right in the middle. He plays a different role for the Netherlands than he even does for Liverpool. He's in the center of a back three for the Dutch, and he is just literally sweeping everything up. And the way we attack, we don't have enough creativity and shooting from distance to really cause enough problems. He will clear every cross. We don't have a center forward that can really fight with him physically or hold the ball up well. That's why I think the United States' only hope is to get this thing into penalties and win on penalties. And so if you want to play it that way, I wouldn't blame you. You could play this thing to go into extra time, which is always a good way to look at some of these knockout stages. And if you want to play the U.S., I would take a stab at them to win in penalties because the goalies, I think we have a big advantage over the Dutch keeper. Matt Turner, the Arsenal keeper, I think gives us an advantage. And you're down to a lottery at that point. But I don't see us scoring from open play. I really don't.
I don't either.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brad. I talked a lot.
No, you're good. I agree with everything you said. And I guess from a football standpoint, I'd probably compare the U.S. to maybe like the Seahawks, where no one really had many expectations coming into the tournament. But we're actually doing well. We have a lot of young talent. We play good defense. We actually don't let teams score. It's brilliant. And Tyler Adams is as our Tyreek Woolen, maybe not a good example, but he's young. He's 24 years old. And if you want to play this game, I'd probably play the under. But like by the time game time rolls around, this under is gonna be so juiced. I think you're probably gonna see like minus 140 for under 2.2 goals, 2.25 goals. Excuse me. I think the Netherlands could be had though. But it like the problem if you are a money line bettor trying to bet the United States is the one time that you get the opportunity, you have to convert. And the United States forwards aren't good enough for that. So I just don't see how the United States score. And so playing the under there is probably going to be the only way. They're just too sound defensively for me. I'm going to be rooting for that game on Saturday. Like I'm going to be yelling, be screaming. I'm going to pretend that we have every chance to win. But from a betting standpoint, a realistic standpoint, like we're going to have to, and you'll see this a lot. A lot of these games moving forward, starting in the round of 16, are going to be won in penalties.
90 to 1 to win the whole thing for the U.S. Let's just pretend that you like the U.S. to win it all. Are you better off taking 90 to 1 or are you better off just doing a money line rollover? And is that number fair? Is that number? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So you would probably be best to take the number right now. The next round, there'll be one of 8 teams left. So they just will not offer a price that long. But yeah, it's.
I mean, go game by game and just keep rolling it over. Is that
keep rolling it?
You'd have to take them but the problem is you'd have to take them to qualify because you wouldn't take them to win because they could go to 4 consecutive penalty shootouts and then you lose. So the qualify price goes down pretty significantly compared to money line. So I'd probably just take that number now if you believe in them.
Yeah, you got to take it now because, I mean, against the Dutch, say we get through, right now they're 330 on the money line. So, all right, so now you've got 3.5 times your stake. We'll be worse than that against Argentina.
Yeah, it's
Assuming
gonna be tough.
Argentina
Beats
they'll
Australia.
beat Australia. Um, so I'm trying to do the math. Like, say we're 4-1 or 4.5-1 to beat Argentina. Um, then if we get through Argentina, so now you've what are you at, 12-1 on your original stake at this point? Then we'll play Brazil. If we'll be 6-1 against Brazil.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, you can see how this stacks up. Like for us to get past the Dutch, then Argentina, then Brazil, and then in the final, assuming it'll be France or potentially in England or somebody like that. It's just we don't have enough horses to get that
Yeah.
across the line. So yeah, I would say bet against or bet on it game to game, and then only invest a little bit of your profits if you get through it. And that way you at least made some money along the way, and you're free rolling your ride. But yeah, I don't see a path to victory.
Yeah. We would
So
have to do like what Croatia did, like where Croatia literally just grinded out these games. But I mean, I thought Croatia from a midfield was much better than what we had in terms of going forward and attack. Like they were able to get a goal when they absolutely needed one. Like if it would be late in the game, it'd be 1-0 and United States pressing. Like I wouldn't be guaranteed that we're getting a goal against an Argentina, against the Brazil. Like Brazil have only allowed what, 2 shots on target all
yeah,
tournament.
yeah. If somehow we get past the Dutch, which I'm not saying is impossible, like I think it is possible we
I
do
think
it.
it's possible as well.
We're not beating Argentina. There's too big of a gap there. And they'll smash Australia. I'm comfortable saying that. And
Yeah.
then that's our level. Like if we can get past this, like a quarterfinal would be a tremendous achievement for this U.S. team with eyes on the next World Cup when we're hosting it.
Yeah, and I would make sure like you guys betting these, you're betting money lines for these tournaments. Like money lines are just in regular play, the 90 minutes
Yes,
plus
good point.
plus stoppage time. They're not extra time. Extra time, your bet's lost because that becomes a draw in the actual match. So like betting soccer in these stages, so I move more away from money line bets. You'll start seeing me do to qualify. You'll see me do more totals because these are I don't want to say 16 best teams in the world, but these are the 16 teams who deserve to be in these spots. Some of them got there by playing games where they are totally fine with just packing it in and just grinding games out. So you don't want we'll see. I guarantee if Spain makes it to the finals, Spain will have at least 2 games where they go to penalties because that's just teams can game plan it and their game style doesn't really fit against teams that are packing it in.
Last one before we get out of here. Do you think there's value generally on these draws because people want to root for the U.S. or they want to root for another? People want to root for a side. Do you think that just naturally puts value on the draws in a lot of cases?
Especially the first half draw, yes.
First half draw.
First half draw is almost an automatic bet for me at this point. Teams are not wanting to lose, so they will be tight. They will be conservative. They'll be searching. But yeah, it's plus then you got VAR on your, VAR takes away more goals than it helps add goals to the board. So VAR is an underbetter's dream. And I think first half goals are at a premium. And so
yes,
taking your 0-0 a halftime exact score, I think is a really good play. And so like in this specific game for the U.S. and the Dutch, it's plus 145. I like that prop a lot. I think that's got a lot of value. It might be something I lock in. I always want to wait to do anything until I see lineups.
Yeah.
But there's no major fitness issues that we're sweating. Christian Pulisic will play.
Yeah.
He seems totally fine.
The only one is Sargent.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know.
In this game, like I think that it didn't matter if we had Sargent or Haji Wright.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It can't be Haji Wright. Haji Wright got thrown on there and couldn't he couldn't stay on his feet. He couldn't retain one ball. Like Josh Sargent does a lot of hard work, but gosh, man, like he's not scaring Virgil at all, like back there. So I think I'd rather see Tim Weah play as the 9, kind of a false 9. See if we could draw Virgil Van Dyke out of the box a little bit and try to get our best 11 on the field. Get Gio Reyna on there.
That was my question. That was my last soccer question.
What's up with
Gio? Why isn't he playing?
I would say that for me, it's probably got to be something in the locker room. Like you got to remember, like Gio Reyna is probably one of the most talented players on our team. But most coaches, when they get in these situations, they're going to go with the guys they trust. And the fact that he's fit and he's not playing kind of makes me feel that, there's something where Berhalter doesn't want to put him in. Gio Reyna is coming from 2 U.S. soccer parents where he probably feels a little entitled to be on that pitch. And he has every reason to argue being on that pitch because I think he belongs on there. It's kind of interesting.
And even if not him, like Brandon Aronson deserves to be on the field ahead of Josh Sargent or Najee Ryan for me.
Exactly.
We're not going to have the ball too much, I don't think. We're going to be a counterattacking team the rest of the way. So guys that can press, guys that can do the hard running off the ball are guys we want on there.
Yes.
And
Aronson has been great this tournament in the limited time he's played too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way, that's how he plays at Leeds. Like, I think getting him on there would be a good idea. But yeah, it's tough. I think if you're going to play the U.S., I think like what Brad said, don't play the U.S. money line. Play them to qualify for the next round. That way you include extra time and you include penalties. I think that's a great value. It's like almost 2-1, depending on where you shop it around. So if you're interested in backing them, give yourself the protection of the extra time and the penalties if necessary, because I think that's the best chance we have to advance. And so if you want to do that, sometimes you can get creative with some parlays and stuff where you say it's a tie on the money line at first, because that's the only way we get extra time and penalties, is if it's a tie. So you could go to, and Will, that was one of your questions about the value on the tie. If you jump in on that, that's potentially a really nice value. I think it's higher than, hold on one second. Money line. Yeah. Plus 220. So if you think the U.S. are going to advance and you like that script, like the tie at full time is a good look. And you could even play the half market where it's, correct scores. Like there's so many ways to attack this where you, halftime, full time is a draw and a draw. Like it's good ways to play it because it doesn't sound like you're adding anything. Like what's the difference between a halftime draw and a full time draw? Well, that means you're breaking the game into 2 things and you're parlaying both halves, which is another fun way to do it. But yeah, unders I think are another thing too. Get creative. You can make some pretty juicy odds on these things still.
Hey Matt, where can viewers hear you talk a lot more soccer tomorrow?
Oh, we're doing box to box. Me and Oaks will be on there, and whoever else wants to join us. I think 5:00 Eastern time is when we're going to be tomorrow. Yeah. Cool. So Brad, hopefully you can make it. I'm not sure if you can, but we're going to run down all the groups that'll be after the final group stages are complete. We'll do a recap of what we saw in the group stage. Who surprised, who disappointed, and then we'll look at the knockout rounds and try to get some discussions and future looks for the rest of these games. So it'll be a good show. I hope you guys can make it.
All right. Well, that'll about do it. We covered a lot here, a little over an hour. NBA game, NFL, some futures, some soccer. We pretty much solved all the world's problems. Nick, Brad, Matt, this was fun, guys. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Pickett Sports, props.cash. Check out their apps. Lots of good stuff. If you're betting, you need Pickett Sports, props.cash. So we will be back. Matkafee mentioned his show. We'll be back Sunday morning, 11 a.m. first and gold, and we'll be back all next week. So we'll see you then, guys. Good luck with all your bets, and take it easy.